I'm your host, Jay, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Hype Club podcast. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? It's been a long time since our previous episode, and I have to say, it's good to be back. It's spring, it's sunny and beautiful outside, and summer is just around the corner, but my summer body ain't ready, and I don't think it will ever be ready. But that's another conversation for another episode. You may wonder why I was absent for so long. Well, I won't go into too much details today, but I'll say this. It's okay to not feel or be okay. You don't need to feel ashamed of your struggles, and it's okay to get help from friends, family, or mental health professionals because your mental health is important and it's no joke. Take care of yourself and be mindful of others because you never know what someone is going through behind closed doors. Okay, let's move on. On today's episode, we're back with another awesome interview, and I know all my 80s, 90s kids, I know you'll enjoy it like I did. But first, to have one of your talent, artists, or celebrities on the Hype Club podcast, please send us an email at thehypeclubpodpr@gmail.com. For advertisement, sponsorship, or have us promote your brand on one of our episodes of the Hype Club podcast, listen up.
Want to advertise, sponsor, or you would like to be a guest on the Hype Club podcast? Send us an email at thehypeclubpodcast@gmail.com or go to our website at thehypeclubpodcast.com. To keep up with all the episodes, subscribe and listen on Apple Podcast or on all platforms where podcasts are available. The Hype Club Podcast is your one-stop destination for trending world and celebrity news. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
Also, make sure to follow the Hype Club podcast on all social media platforms on Instagram and Facebook at the Hype Club Podcast and Twitter at the Hype Club Pod. Now, sit back, get your favorite drink and snacks, press play, and enjoy this awesome interview. Let's go! On today's show, our special guest is one half of the iconic multi-platinum 90s hip-hop group Tag Team, best known for their 1993 single Whoop, There It Is, which has been featured in a number of films, ads, and TV shows. Please welcome musician, actor, comedian, and voiceover artist, DC Glenn. Hi, DC. How are you?
Doing good. How you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. Thank you for joining us on the Hype Club podcast today. Let's start by telling our audience who is DC Glenn. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you come from.
I don't even know who I am. Well, I was born in Chicago, moved to Denver when I was a child, and in high school, me and Steve met, and he had a band, and I joined this band and graduated from high school. And after the high school, our band kind of disbanded, and then me and Steve stayed together as tag team. So I went to college and got real good at DJing and rapping, and this is the beginning of hip hop, so we were just into it. And I started writing lyrics and got a 4-track and start making beats, and then start making songs. And every time I would come back home for college, we go to the studio and make songs. So we've always been doing it. But he moved to Atlanta. Steve moved to Atlanta, and then I came and visited him, and I had such a good time. I knew I was going to move to Atlanta. And I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and started working at the nightclubs because I was a good DJ. And, we kept making songs, but we were in a different region. We were in the Southeast, right? And being in the Southeast, you had to make a bass record to come out of there. And since we lived in the Southeast, our first attempt to make a bass record was Whoomp, There It Is, and the rest is history.
Amazing. Before we go further, I wanted to ask you, with everything that's going on in the world, with the pandemic and all, how COVID conscious have you been?
As far as overall?
Yeah, overall.
because there's so many levels to this whole pandemic. Because, to start, right, I can honestly say 2020 is one of the best years of my life, right?
Oh.
And pandemic was one of the greatest things that has ever happened to me because it forced everybody to stop, right?
Hmm.
And it forced everybody to take stock of what was important. It forced you to, what am I doing? What am I trying to do? Where am I going? Right? How am I living my life? And I basically reinvented myself. And I was like, what are you going to do? Can't do shows, can't do this, can't do that. And I reinvented myself and went back to the beginning of voiceover when I started training in 2010 and just really concentrated on that. And, I couldn't figure out why I wasn't really as good as I wanted to be in voiceover, but going back over it because, I, became an actor in 2017. And now that I'm all in acting and voiceover and going to classes, I realized I didn't understand the vocabulary.
Hmm.
And then I went through all these classes that I recorded, like 22-hour classes. And after that, I had total mastery over my voice and I started booking instantly. And you ask me, how COVID conscious I am. I'm 100% COVID conscious because, it's not about me, it's about everybody else.
Exactly.
Right. So, we had our first show Monday and I was feeling guilty. Right. I'm like, there's 3,000 people out because it's in Florida and Florida don't care. They care, but they don't care, right? So it's like 3,000 people at this concert, right? And I'm just feeling guilty. And I'm like, it's going to be a backlash because this is just bananas. And the promoter was like, and it's going to be all right because this was a fair. It was a Clay County fair that they hadn't had in 2 years. So everybody was chomping at the bit. But what they did is they gave away free COVID shots at the concert, right?
Hmm.
So, COVID vaccines at the concert. So that made it all better. And people who might not even thought about or said they would never get a COVID shot started getting the vaccine. So they vaccinated thousands of people.
Wow.
And we did the show and we had a ball, right? So, I got my vaccine beginning of January. I would have did it in December if I could have. So I've been very COVID conscious. I always wear my mask. And, we're down here in Georgia. They might have shut down for 2 weeks, but, I really didn't stop doing too much. I got up in the morning, put my weights in the truck, and then I would go to a parking lot, where the grocery store was and just work out in the parking lot till it opened, got my food, and then my day was done. So, I don't know. It's just, you just got to think about other people, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you think about other people, then you'll be okay. That's all I got, because everybody's thinking about, am I going to catch it? Am I going to catch it? And I'm like, just think about other people and you'll be all right. I go to the gym, but when I go to the gym, I'm wearing cotton gloves so I can spray them down. Now my gloves are wet. Everything I touch is disinfected, right? So
Hmm.
I'm good. I can go work out in my mask. Everything I touch is disinfected. I don't have to waste a million paper towels wiping stuff down. And I get my workout on in a half hour and go home. My day is done. So the pandemic, life is about adaptability, right?
Hmm.
And you're always going to go through certain things in your life that are going to test you. And this one was a big one because it happened to everybody at the same time. So it's up to you whether you're going to be, you're just going to sit there and let this time go by, or you're really going to try to understand what it is happening to you. And, instead of looking at the glass half empty, look at the glass half full.
Exactly. And do something about it.
Do something about it. And I did that. And, after I started booking, it was a year ago in March, I just grinded. And then all of a sudden, bam, I started booking. I was already booking, but I started booking a lot. Then I got my first movie, right? Because I was hustling and reinventing myself and go over my acting lessons and just honing my craft. Then I shot my second movie in August, right? And then I booked a Tyler Perry gig, and then here comes Geico, right? So because I was proactive, didn't give up, don't give up, lay seeds, do all these things to get to the next level constantly. I don't I'm successful, and it's not about quid pro quo. It's not, I do this and this is supposed to happen. It's just about doing it and don't worry about it. Right. And,
Right.
that's why you and I are talking, because I could have been happy about a Geico commercial, but I knew we weren't going to do any shows. So, that is the biggest reason to have a Geico commercial, but I didn't give up. I said, I gotta take advantage of the situation because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
So I said, blow DC up. So I went and tried to find a publicist. Couldn't find a publicist because they didn't want to. We were in a pandemic. They're like, usually you go to New York and we do a junket and all these things, and we don't really know how to do it, and we don't want to waste your money. I was like, all right. And I joined the organization and was on a Zoom call, and it was so enlightening because I asked a question, and because, and I said, our press release is relevant. And the guest was a CEO of a PR firm, and she was like, what's it for? And I was like, well, I'm kind of featured in this Geico commercial. Scoop, there it is. And I'm looking at the chat, and chat just starts blowing up. That's my favorite commercial. My kids love that commercial. They won't stop singing that commercial. And the moderator's looking at the chat, and she's like to welcome DC to the club, to the organization, because I joined the Public Relations Society of America. See, every time I hit a wall, I join an organization because the organization is full of professionals.
Professionals, yeah.
Yeah, professionals in that, in that lane that have been doing it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So now I'm talking to a CEO of a PR firm. She's like, heck yeah, press releases are relevant because it's all been doom and gloom because of COVID. And then here you come with a good time story, good feel story. You're going to do well. And I dropped that press release 4 days before the Super Bowl, and 300 organizations picked it up and ran it. Next thing you know, 2 days later, I'm on Dan Patrick's show. A couple weeks later, I'm on Tamron Hall's show. Now I'm doing, and not only did she say press releases were relevant, she said, you want to go here for the podcast. You want to go here for the get in front of the journalists. You want to go here for the TV shows. You want to have your pitches like this. You want to do this. She gave me the entire breadth of her experience in 10 minutes.
That's
amazing. And I have not looked back. Right. So now I'm basically a PR firm. And like I said, that's why you and I are talking right now.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Geico commercial a little later. But if I'm not mistaken, I think one of the movies you've done during this whole pandemic was with the late Dustin Diamond, who played Screech from Saved by the Bell.
Now,
right?
It is such an ironic twist of events because the guy's name is Dustin Diamond, looks like Dustin Diamond, and is not Dustin Diamond.
No?
No. He's not the guy that was the cinematographer for the movie that I was in, right?
Okay.
And it just blew me. And I didn't find this out till later because everybody thought that. And then the director told me, no,
it's not
everybody's
him.
Yeah, it's not him. He just looks like him. I was like, how's that even possible, right?
A twin.
That thinly, how's that thinly possible that somebody looks like him? You know what I'm saying? And has his same name. And then I was just like, oh my God. So I had to kind of retract some from big articles and all kind of stuff. And it was just like, I can't believe that.
Well, we all have a twin somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody's calling him, trying to figure out what, and he's like, I'm alive. And it's like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. That was crazy.
That's crazy. What was your introduction to the music hip hop scene?
Hey, just because I was raised in the beginning of hip hop, right? Mm-hmm. I was raised with African Bambaataa and Sugar Hill Gang and Soul Sonic Force and Planet Rock and all those records, right? And I was a DJ, since I was a kid, so it's been embedded in me since day one, right? And hip hop is different for me, right? Because I know what hip hop actually is. I can tell you the history back to day one. So it's a little different for me than it is for everybody else. And, there are different schools of thought. Old cats are mad at the young cats because they think the young cats make garbage. But I'm like, you can't be mad at them because they are doing the best they can, right? Mm-hmm. like you can only do what what you do. So it's like, well, they should still, I have arguments with podcasts all the time, or just with moderators all the time, because they're like, I don't know if they're old and bitter, but I'm like, the first thing you can't do is you can't hate on young people for being young, right? And even though we are the reason that they get to do what they want to do, they wouldn't even know how to find us and pay respect, because their whole thing is about they need to pay homage, they need to pay respect, they need to respect, they need to respect the craft and hip hop and all that. And I'm like, it's a difference, right? They're doing it the way they can do it. We did it the way we did it. And then I asked them this question. Okay, when you were doing your thing back in the day, were you checking with Chubby Checker? Were you checking with Marvin Gaye and James Brown and all those old school artists and paying homage to them and trying to make music that they made? No, you were making your music. You were making what your vision was of what you thought this new art form of hip hop was. So why would you expect these young kids to even try to find you? They don't even know to even do something like that, because they're young, right? So it's just interesting how people see that perspective of it, and just instead of saying, you know what, because this is how I look at it. I'm like, do your thing, and it is my responsibility to make sure you don't go through the things that I went through from a business perspective, right? That's my contribution. And that's all I care about, right? Because I'm not going to be able to make you make different music and do things differently. That's you. That's your craft. That's what you're doing. If that's what you talk about, that's what you talk about. That's your form of hip hop. My responsibility is to tell you the things that I wish somebody had told me when I signed my first whack contract, right? So, it's more about, how you're saying that you're asking about COVID. If you are a person like I am, then it's not about me. It's about you, right? But if it's all about you, then it's like, why I got to wear a mask? Why I got to do this? Why this? Why that? So,
And I wanted to ask you a question about that, because we all know that music is not what it used to be. So how would you describe what's on radio play right now and back then?
I don't even listen to music, so I really can't tell you.
Okay. Because
I don't, because I know that, because I've been a DJ since I was a kid. So for me to listen to music right now don't make no sense, because there's no reason for me to listen to music. I listen to music when I got a DJ, right? So if I had to start DJing again, then it would take me 2 weeks to get back in shape, and then I'd be right back where I was, because I know the fundamentals of how to make songs. I know the fundamentals of how to make music. I know the fundamentals of how to DJ. I know the fundamentals about how to rock the crowd, how to rock the party. I have the old school fundamentals that make today's hip hop what it is, or even possible. And that never leaves you, right? So it would, I don't listen to the radio. If I'm always learning, right? I'm learning, I'm learning PR. So I don't have time to listen to music. I'm learning, search engine optimization. I'm learning all the things that is going to make me money. But think about it. But I haven't given up on music, right? Because I know what I want to make. I know what'll work, right? But I'm not about to be an artist again and say, hey, DC got a record out there, y'all, let's go. No. It don't work like that. But I'm an actor, and I audition for movies all the time. So for me, it's about learning how to learn, and everything has changed. Pandemic changed a lot. It's like, I do not want to leave this earth wishing I had did something or regretting that I didn't do something.
Exactly.
So for me, one of my weakness, and that was just the start of my path of just correcting all my weaknesses, making myself stronger. And one of the weaknesses was the music production intellect is not where the music creativity intellect is, because my music creativity is better than it's ever been in my life, right? Because I'm a Renaissance person, so I know how to write comedy. I know how to perform in front of 50,000 people. I know how to perform in front of 50 people. I know how to do all these things, which makes me so creative, because now everything crisscrosses, and you can use some of the positive things from one in some of the negative things of the other, and that is the solution for that, you getting masterful in that thing, right? So I say that because, I've got tutors now for music production, and I have to get up to speed to learn how to make songs again. And I just want to know how to make songs. But if I do make songs, it's going to be in the form of a song that goes on a movie soundtrack that I'm acting in, or a TV commercial that I'm acting in, or doing the voiceover for, or the theme song of a TV show that I'm.
Jingles, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many ways to be successful in music, and people aren't looking at them. But see, everybody wants to be a star. I've never wanted to be a star, right? Because I'm humble. I've been a DJ, right? And I'm a DJ in Atlanta, Georgia, and in the hottest clubs. So I know everybody. I know all the stars, especially back then. And I watch everybody come in, and I watch how people who don't come up treat people, and I watch them rise and I watch them fall. And I vowed to never be that person, because, that fall is so incredibly difficult for people that they never really come back. Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll never be that, because I despised it. And to this day, people can still call me. Nobody knows who I am. And that's the beauty of it. I got a commercial that's on 100 times a day, and I still walk by people and they don't know me, because it's how I carry myself. Right. And I don't really care. I've learned over the years to really sequester my ego, because I do have a large ego. Inside, I'm a star. I'm a superstar. Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Well, you are a superstar. Come on. Whoop, there it is. Was one of the biggest songs in the 90s.
I hear you. But I can't ever act like it, right?
Yeah, there's a difference. Yes.
There's a difference, because what I'm doing, everything I do, people respond to me and they love me because I'm me. Think about it. The music industry doesn't know I act, and the motion picture, film, and television industry doesn't know I don't do Whoomp, there it is. Now they do, but nobody still knows, because we still walking around with masks. So I get to live my life, true. Right? I get to live my life. I get to go anywhere I want to go. I get to do anything I want to do. I get without being, just where people don't really bother me, right? And it's not about people bothering me, because when I want to be a star, I can be a star, right? But it's at my choice, at my choosing, to when I see it's advantageous for me.
For you, yes.
Yeah, like I book all the time, and when I book, I might be on a set of commercial, and they're like, "So, hey, what else do you do?" It might be halfway, you might be almost through. And I'd be like, well, and then I'd be like, this is a good time to tell him, because he's the director and he has no clue who you are. Well, go on and tell him, mess him up. Well, back in the 90s, I made a record called Whoomp, There It Is. You heard of the group Tag Team? He's like, DC, come on, man. That's not good, starting a relationship off with a lie. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I was like, I know you're going to go look on your phone. I said, you're going to see this face with black, long, pretty hair. All right. And then they go do it, and then it spreads through the whole set. And then for the rest of the day, they treat me like a king, because I had already won them over on the strength of my character. That's more important. That's more ego fulfilling than anything else, because I actually did it with me, and nothing about that is false. You think about what you look at on social media, 90% of it's false. 90% of it's people.
Just an illusion.
Yeah, it's an illusion. It's the illusion they want to be. They're living their fantasy, right? And you can just tell by the thirstiness of the way they're looking at the camera, right? And it's just, I'm not knocking any of it. That's how they do it. I don't do it like that. If I put something out that's relevant, it's something I like, it's something I think is cool or whatever, but it's never a rah-rah situation. And me being humble has made me successful. And made me, it has given me the ability to live my life and then teach other people with my wisdom and my experiences and make the world a better place. You know what I mean? I learned a long time ago, I have the ability to touch the world with my craft, right? I touched the world with this Geico commercial, right? We were in the middle of a pandemic. Everybody's fighting with each other, elections, all that stuff, right? And then here come me, got little babies singing Sprinkles and old people singing Scoop and people writing me letters and everybody's just happy, right? Because it brings so much joy to their lives.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that phenomenon, because it is a phenomenon, that is the
Yeah.
Geico commercial. Scoop, there
Hmm.
it is. So many people have been reintroduced to this classic party song when it made its debut, I think last year around Christmas, and then
Yeah.
on
Right.
during the
Yep.
Super Bowl.
Yep.
On YouTube, it has reached more than 14 million, almost 15 million YouTube views.
Yep.
How did you get involved? Like, how that happened? What was the creative process of doing
Okay.
such a commercial?
So this story starts back in 2012, where I'm DJing at the club and I get a call, and they're like, DC, you got to come to the front. You got to call. I'm like, take a message. Like, man, DC, they will not get off the phone. I go to the front. I'm like, hello. They're like, got to talk to you. Blah. I was like, look, I'm at work. Call me in the morning at this number. They call me in the morning on Sunday, and it's a reporter from the New York Times. And she's like, DC, have you looked, have you seen the Gawker article? And I was like, no. She's like, they wrote an article that everybody thinks Barack Obama the president is in your video. Boom, there it
What?
is. And I'm like, what? And it's like, yeah. And I look and it's just everybody's going crazy. Now my phone is blowing up because she done called all her friends. And now I got New York Times, CNN. I did a whole week of press on that story, right? And I was like, how did you find me? And she was like, I couldn't, but I kept going and I found you. And I was like, they couldn't find me and I missed money, right?
Mhm.
And I vowed that would never happen again, because you got to have a web presence. This is the beginning of social media, but I wasn't really thinking about that because I'm doing so many other things. I'm doing voiceover, I'm doing this. But because of that, I started my SEO career, search engine optimization, building websites, learning algorithms, doing the dirty work, right?
Mhm.
And back then, you type in tag team, it was all wrestling. You type in tag team today, it's all tag team. So fast forward, Geico goes to our website, which it took me years to build, but now it's just perfect. And they called the number. And I got a dedicated phone to the website, and I didn't answer that phone because I rarely answered that phone. But they didn't give up. They went to my IMDb, and since I have all my profiles all over the internet filled out and people can find me super easy now, they found my agent for acting, called my agent for acting. My agent calls me, says, DC, you booked a Geico commercial. It's like, don't be playing with me. I didn't even audition for a Geico commercial. And I was like, that's impossible. And I was like, wait a minute, tag team. I went and checked my phone. It was like, hey, DC, we want to do a Geico commercial. I'm like, oh man. So I let my agent make the deal, People Store Agency in Atlanta, Georgia, because they've been real good to me. I was like, let me break bread with my people. And I let them make the deal. And it is the most lucrative deal that I've ever made in my life. And then it was time to go to work. Everybody asked you, I know you're happy you got a Geico commercial. It's like, I was happy for the first 2 days, but then it was time to go to work. Right.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, they hashed out a couple of things and came up finally with Scoop, there it is. And you know, I was like, ice cream. And just a visceral, great feeling came over me that took me back to my childhood, because my father used to make us ice cream, and he would put the eggs and the vanilla and the sugar and the cream in the ice cream. And then me and my brother would set up the ice cream churn, where you have a silver cylinder. You put the liquid in the silver cylinder. You put ice all around. You put rocks on it to make it even colder. And then you crank it with your hand. Just a hand crank, like you're churning butter. And he'd do it for 5 minutes. I do it for 5 minutes. And 20 minutes later, me and my brother are eating ice cream. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to bring that essence to the commercial. And
Well, you did.
yeah. And
You
then I'm
did.
like, okay, so now I said, you know, before the pandemic, I booked a Pizza Hut commercial, national, for March Madness. But the pandemic happened. But it was a pivotal moment because that was the first national commercial I booked. And I did it because I switched my audition technique, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was going in just going improv. They would say, do something, and I just try to do the best I could. But I said, you got the script, come up with 5 or 6 things that you put in your pocket, practice them. And then, just if they ask you to do something, you got something that you can do right then. You already practiced, you know what it is, and it's done. And that happened, and I booked instantly. And that's what I bought to the Whoomp, to the scoop. There it is commercial. It was like, I want to spin a scoop. So I tried to find somebody to be able to spin a scoop. Couldn't find nobody to be able to spin a scoop. I was like, I know kids love sprinkles. So I want tons of sprinkles everywhere, right?
At the end,
Salt Bae.
sprinkles.
Yeah, we're going to do the Salt Bae. We're going to do the LeBron James chalk sprinkle, chalk throw at the scorers table. We're going to do a little yeek dance that we do down here in the South. We're going to do all kind of stuff. And we had our wardrobe fitting the night before. And then we had our production meeting with the director. And I was like, got some ideas, man. He was like, anything you want to do, DC. And I told him, I just ran him off, and I was like, try to want to do the spin and scoop, but we can't do it because I couldn't find anybody to make it. He's like, it'll be done tomorrow. I was like, whoa, okay. So I got my spin and scoop. We got there and we shot all day, had a ball. All the rest of the actors and actresses were brilliant. And we were all colleagues of Atlanta because I didn't know them, but we all knew the same people. And it just turned out where we were just so creative that whole day and just having fun and kept the energy. It wasn't even work. It was like a party, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what I wanted. I wanted when children saw that commercial, they looked at their parents and said, Mama, I want a party like that, right? And I guarantee you there's going to be 1 million ice cream parties this summer. Whoever makes ice cream cakes is going to get rich. I promise you, right? And
they better be ready.
They better be ready because this is leading to things that I could have never imagined, right? And because I'm doing such, I've taken it upon me to just, all I'm concentrated on is PR. That's why I do 5 of these a week. I'm doing interviews, I'm doing TV shows because the pandemic changed everything, because I don't really have to go to New York to do an interview sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. I can do everything right here, and I could do it times 10. Right. So that's what I do. And I've learned things and planted seeds. And I mean, I've always been planting seeds, right? I've always been, working on things. They say jack of trades, master of none. But if you work hard enough, a lot of those trades become masterful. You become masterful.
Exactly. Yes.
Just because you don't quit. And then when you're younger, people always accuse you of like, you're over here, you're over there. You don't know what you want to do. You're just doing too much. You need to pick one thing. But what happens is all those tentacles and all those rows merge into one
together
row.
At a point.
They all merge together, and then they become a big ball, a big nuclear engine that powers your dreams and and all your aspirations and everything you're a part of, right? And then you think differently. I've always been able to think differently. That's why I've always been successful, because if I hit a brick wall, I don't stop. And a lot of people this is the age of self-gratification. I want it now. And it doesn't work like that. People, people always tell me, well, how's it work, DC? And I'm like, well, let me give you this analogy. You plant a seed, and then you sit down and you're looking at the seed in the dirt, and you're like, grow, seed, grow. Come on, seed, grow. Please grow, seed. Please grow. Man, this seed don't work. I quit, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not realistic. It's not practical. It's not the truth, right? But that's how people think. It's not a quid pro quo. I do this, therefore this is supposed to happen. It don't work like that either. What you do is you plant that seed, you keep it moving, you play offense, right? And you just plant them. You don't know what type of seed it is. You don't know if it's a shrub, a plant, a tree, a fruit tree. You don't know what it is, a weed. You don't know what type of seed that is, but you plant it and you move. You keep moving, right? Mm. And because I've planted so many seeds, and especially in the last year, I've planted so many seeds that now I stand before you in a forest of opportunity, right?
Exactly.
Because
yes.
things are hitting me in the head that I never imagined. I'm creating just from creating and hustling. Things are falling into my lap. Opportunities coming from everywhere, right? And because I hustle, because people see me on national TV, because people are hearing me in podcasts all the time. People are coming up with ideas like, wait a minute, we want to do this. And because the powers that be Geico and the Martin Agency are seeing me hustle.
Don't wait
And
for the opportunity to knock on
no,
your door. Just go get
yeah,
it.
go get it. That's what
Go
I'm
get
saying.
it.
So now, and then that's part of it too. It's like you can work like that, but here's the caveat. Whatever you want and whoever you want it from, right? You have to make sure that you place yourself in front of them and let them see you hustle.
Yes.
Not be thirsty and be like, oh, so can we do this? Can I have this? And can I have this? Why can I have this? And why can't? No. You have to place yourself in front of them and let them see you hustle. Right? If you got an idea you want them to hash out, you put yourself in front of them and let them see you hustle. Right? And that's how you use social media, because I know that the powers that be are watching me.
I'm taking notes.
But think about it. Yeah, okay, so perfect example, like my agent for acting, right? I know that agents hate when actors call and say, well, how come I'm not getting that many auditions? I haven't been getting auditions lately. How come? Well, why? Well, you're my agent. You're supposed to be doing this for me. Well, why aren't you doing that? Right? And the agents can't stand that because it's stupid, right? But how I do it, I call my agent. I'm like, first of all, I just want to thank y'all, man. Y'all doing a great job for me. I appreciate you. You know, I mean, because of y'all, I'm just hustling hard. I'm in this class onto, you know, I'm in this class here, this class there, this workshop, and I got some headshots coming. And I was just wondering if there's anything I'm missing. Are there any classes that I'm missing? And they're like, you in all the best classes, right? Now, what did I just do? I got in front of my agents and I let them see me hustle, because in the form of gratitude, I let them see how hard I'm hustling by how many classes I'm in. Then I asked them and got verification and validation from them. And then I tried to get more knowledge and say, hey, is there anything I'm missing? None of that reeks of this. Why is he asking what? You know, me, right? None of that reeks of that. All that reeks of is gratitude. And this dude is really putting in the work. How can I help him?
Exactly. Yes.
Then people give you what you want. Then people go harder for you. Then people remember you. Another analogy. My acting coach gave me this. Crystal Carson. I'll never forget it because I lived by it. She said, you get invited to a party. What are you going to bring? Some people bring cheese and crackers, a bottle of wine. Some people will bring a casserole, some dips and chip. Not me. I'm bringing an ice sculpture. I'm bringing the turntables and the records. I'm going to DJ. I'm bringing the karaoke machine. I'm bringing the jungle gym for the kids in the back. And we're going to cook steaks. And I'm going to cook for you. Because everybody in this party is going to remember me because of what I bought to it and made it better. Right? If you're not trying to make things better, you're making them worse. Or
then there's no point.
There's no point. Right? So everything I do, I have that mentality. I'm coming to your podcast. I haven't met you before. I don't know who you are. But I know you took the time to ask me to be on your podcast, so I'm giving you everything, right? Because that's who I am. You know, I live by this motto as well. You give what you want first. So if I want good publicity, if I want to get out there, if I want to be saturated on the internet and just have good vibes and inspire people and inspire enough people to where I can go on the road and do motivational speaking, then what am I going to do? I'm going to do these podcasts. I'm going to do these interviews, and I'm going to practice, and I'm going to get good at it. And I'm going to inspire people, and I'm going to teach the people that the things that I've been blessed with in my life, and give them a heads up on the things that can deter them, and let them know that there's a different way, and whatever you want to do, you can do. You're never too old. You're never too young. You're never too stupid. You're never nothing. It's about the choice you make. We all got a choice.
Yes.
Period. You know, we all got a choice. Like think about this. I'm in the bed. Everybody's been through this too. In the bed, I'm like, man, I need to go to the gym. It's like, all right, just get up, put your shoes on, put your clothes on. All right, just get your keys and all that. Okay, go to the car. Just drive. All right, go to the gym. All right, cool. I'm here. All right, we're just gonna do a little bit. I don't feel like doing. You have a conversation with yourself because your sabotage self is always trying to sabotage and hate on you.
Always.
Always, right? So it's like, man, we ain't gonna be about to do all this today. Like, come on, dude, let's just do it. Come on, man. You fighting with yourself, right?
Yes.
But what happens is you start and it's like, wait a minute, let me just go on and do this. Oh, it's getting good to me. Oh man, this is great. Oh, I haven't been here an hour. Then you leave and you sabotage self. He left a long time ago because he know he couldn't win, right? And you're sitting in your car and the only thing you say to yourself is, damn, I'm glad I went to the gym. And that's the difference, right? You do things anyway because you will be glad when you did them when it's done.
Yeah,
right?
the end result.
The end result. But if you keep piling up stuff, you never get nothing done.
Nothing done.
That's why, that separates people. People are like, DC, how do you stay motivated? What is your engine? Do you ever sleep? And I'm like, yeah, I sleep real good. But the things that need to be done get done. I've got lists. I've got different ways to do things. I learned how to learn. If there's something I don't like to do, well, maybe there's another way to do it that I enjoy.
It's
right?
the motivation, you know?
Yes, and just the practicality of it, right? You find a quicker way to do it. Perfect example. If I got a long email, somebody just blabbing, but there's important information in there, and I don't feel like reading it, well, you might procrastinate and wait 2-3 days to read it, but I'll throw it in the AI and let the email read to me and still keep looking at my other emails. Now I'm killed the time and I'm listening to this email. And then all of a sudden I'm like, that's interesting. Then I look at that email and I'm reading along with it while it's reading to me. Another way.
That's smart. That's
and
smart.
I retain more information. That's learning how to learn. Every time I hit a wall, join an organization and they give me the answers I want in a week. And now that could be my business, right? Because I've learned everything that everybody that I can reach in that organization has given me the game. Learn how to learn, right? I could take this interview, put it in the AI, make a transcript, and then dump it into my YouTube description or any other description. And now it serves another purpose by adding value to your podcast because you got SEO in your podcast.
Exactly.
Now Google knows where to place you because we're talking about the same thing. And if you do that, if I do that all the time, you do it, then that Whoomp, there it is going to show up here, going to show up there, it's going to show up under Scoop, it's going to show up under Geico. And all because you learned how to do differently. Tell me, there's so many people who just put out YouTube videos thinking that I got a YouTube video out. Why come nobody likes it? It's going to go viral. Well, you didn't even fill out your description. You haven't even filled out your description on your channel. Like, what are you, and these are the things. That's why the internet is just full with garbage because people have not taken the time to learn how to do things properly because they hear the word viral, right?
And that's all they want, to go viral.
And that's all they hear. It's like, okay, I got to do. So instead of learning how to properly fill out all the things that you could fill out, they would rather humiliate themselves just in the hopes to go viral. And it never goes viral. All you do is end up humiliating yourself. And then even if it did go viral, you want to be known, you want to be viral because of that. And now you got to always act like that. And that's not going to happen because as humans, we grow. And then you end up not liking the things that you did when you were 22, right? But if you can learn to do things properly, it's about placing words and understanding who your audience is, And the first thing I ask people, I was like, if you were trying to find you, what would you type into Google? Then type it in. Are you there? Well, hey, now you know what your mission is. Now you know what the work. Now you know what you got to do to work. You know what your work is.
Yes.
Because if you do that right, you don't have to worry about your social networks because they'll all be on your first page of Google because you're the brand, right? And it's simple, it's practical, but nobody wants to take the time to learn it. So that's why, I learn more from doing these. I'm hashing things out while I'm talking to you, right? I'm coming up with different metaphors. I'm coming up with different ways to motivate myself, different ways to fix my weaknesses, different ways to fix my idiosyncrasies because we're talking about it, right? And then you're going to come in and you're going to tell me some things and I know you're responding because you're telling me you're writing down stuff. But then I'm like, so it's a back and forth and we're helping people. We're helping your listeners. It might be one thing that somebody can put to their hustle that changes everything for them. So I
It's
give it
it's
all.
all about the work you put in, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And then, there's people say, there's discrepancies on that, but you just have to, I know that certain hard work, and it's not really, it's just working hard, right? Working hard, working smart, all the work. You have to put in the work, right? You have to do things, you have to put the reps in, like acting. I'm acting every day, 2-3 hours every day, because I know that's what I have to do to get to where I want to be as an actor. There's people that have been acting, they ain't done nothing during the pandemic because that's their excuse. It's a pandemic, so I can't do nothing. Like,
That's true. A lot of people.
I'm like, everything changed at the pandemic. Now I use a site called We Audition, which is basically Zoom for actors. Now I'm working out like in the gym with people that are not working on Broadway, but I've been classically trained Broadway actors for 30 years. I'm working with soap opera actresses in LA, movie stars in LA. I'm working with all these actors and actresses because I need readers. And they're shut down so they can make money reading for other actors who are getting auditions. So now I got actors and actresses all over the world who are now part of my team that are making me great because we putting in the reps. Right?
It's about
Learn how
seeing
to learn.
the bigger picture.
See the bigger picture. It's like everybody who's famous tells you what to do to get famous. It's up to you to do it. Or they say put in the work. Right? You got to keep putting in the work. You can never give up. That's why it's a percentage of a percent that end up being successful actors, because everybody gives up, because everybody wants to be a star. Same with rappers, same with singers, same with all of that. It's like you have to figure out, and you have to just keep going, because some things gonna work, some things not. But then if I'm mad because I didn't book a job, I've done hundreds of auditions and booked a handful of things, maybe 7 or 8 things, right? And I'm good. I can't wait to get to the next audition. That guy who you just see him talking to every woman, right? He's just talking to every woman, trying to mac on every woman he see. Just, hey, baby, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. Then he come up on you. Hey, baby, what's going on? And you just like, would you get away from me, right? And then you ask me, like, why do you do that? Why do you don't talk to 100 women? Why do you do that? And he's like, all I need is 5 and I'm good. So if he tries to talk to 100 women and he gets the 5 he wants, was it worth it to him? Yes. Right? Now I'm not, and that's how acting is, right? You got to do 100 to get 2 sometimes. So you better have that mindset that it's not personal. It's not because you're a bad actor. It's just, you might be too short. You might be too tall. You might be whatever it is for your co-star or the role, or you might look like somebody's ex-husband, or you might be too black, or your teeth might be too straight. You never know what it is. But all you can do is put in the work, and then you've done your part, right? Mm-hmm. The rest is not up to you. But if you're getting emotional about it and pissed off every time you do an audition and be like, this don't work, and quit, you don't even know how close.
Then you'll give up.
You'll give up on everything. And I don't give up. Today, I have a list of things I was supposed to do, but I got stuck on one thing and I could not let it go because I had to figure it out before I moved on, right? And I did. So it took 2-3 hours. Now I'm behind, but it's okay because I did it, right?
You did it, yeah.
Yeah, I did it. So, I could do this for hours, but I only got like 15 more minutes. I got.
Okay. So I have a question for you. Sadly, we've all heard the sad news about DMX passing this past Friday. Did you know him personally, and what legacy you think he's leaving behind?
I think I met him a couple times because we always meet each other in passing. But I mean, it's a legacy of a brother that died too soon, right? Like everybody that's from that era is starting to realize that, all that stuff catches up with you. You know what I mean? You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your body, Everybody in their 40s and 50s now. And it's like, you can't keep doing the same things you did back in the day. But then, a lot of people don't have hard lives. A lot of people, life is is different sometimes for some people, right? And the legacy he's left behind is he left good music. He left good music. He left good anthems, and people miss the dude. You know what I mean? So whenever that happens and somebody passes, because I mean, it's part of life. My mother prepared me for death so well that even though it affects me, the main thing I remember is that it's a part of life, right?
Yes.
And it's a part of life. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to pass away, and we're going to mourn, and we're going to remember them, and it's what you leave behind, right? And he left behind a plethora of things where he will always be remembered. And that's what I hope to do, is leave behind so many things that people can learn from me, that my life meant something on this earth.
And that was my next question. What's the legacy you want to leave behind?
Well, the legacy, I don't even know, because we're standing in a new frontier, right? If you're sitting down waiting for things to come back the way they used to be, you're going to be sitting down waiting for things to come back the way they used to be.
You're going to wait forever.
You see what I'm saying? And it's not coming back. So now you're done. And me, the way I think, I'm standing in a new frontier, and the world is mine. I can make my own lane. I can make 2, 3, 4 lanes, and they're mine. And now I have a highway, and now that highway is mine. And then that highway has side streets, which are my new hustles that I think I could do something with. And now, you keep going, and I don't know what my legacy will be, but I know that I do not want to leave this earth regretting that I didn't do something. I didn't learn how to play the piano. I didn't learn music production like I wanted to. That to me is the worst thing that you can do. And we grow and get middle age, and we do that to ourselves. I wish I could have did that, because you're thinking, I wish I was young again. But what makes you young again is your drive not to leave this earth with nothing left unsaid and nothing left undone. If I do that, my legacy will take care of itself.
What is the best advice you've been given, and what advice would you give to upcoming aspiring artists?
I've been given good advice, but not the advice that I wanted.
Oh.
Right? I mean, think about it. Because I signed a messed up record contract. My parents raised me well. They raised me very good, but my father can't tell me the ins and outs of what snakes are going to do to you in the music industry. So that's my responsibility. And when people say, DC, put me in the game, I want to learn the music industry, I want to be an artist, I want to be a star, I'm like, all right, you serious? Like, yeah. I'm like, okay, here's a folder. Give me your email address, I'm going to send you a folder. And that folder is a book. If you don't like to read or can't read, I got a video in there for you, right? And all it is a book about music publishing. And I tell you, read that and come back to me. And I can tell you 98% of people don't call me back because they want to be a star. They don't want to put in the work. And the people that do are like, man, I'm confused, but I'm like, this is what it is. This is this is that. They're like, man, that's amazing. It's like, but how does that fit in? I was like, because I gave you the back end first, right? Everybody's worried about the front end. I gave you the back end. I gave you after you don't had a hit record and it done fell off. And what do you have left in the ashes of your stardom? You have your music publishing, which will, even with a mediocre record, you can work that record forever and you get all the money for it. I gave you the back end, the most important part of this music industry. And I gave you the ability to never get taken advantage of. To me, that's more than anything I could ever tell you, how to get all the women and get all the, this and get a record deal and all that. Because if you don't know the back end, everything else doesn't matter.
You're giving the tools and it's up to them to go and build what they want to build,
exactly. And if you do that one part, I'll give you the next piece. Mm-hmm. If you do that, I'll give you the next piece. And then you take those pieces and now you got a music career. It's going to be different, but at least you'll have a music career. You'll be able to make money, right? And there's only a couple people that have done it, and I'm proud of them. So, it just, and I'm willing to help anybody, but I'm not about to give you the whole game. I'm about to give it to you chunk by chunk because I got to know that I'm not wasting my time. and I'm busy. So it's not gonna go like that. But
Do you have any upcoming projects, you or a tag team,
man,
that you can talk about?
it's just tons.
Tons?
Tons. I mean,
One that you can talk about.
I booked I'm on a TV show with Carucci, Games People Play in Lauren, London, and I'm, working on another movie. We're working on another
Amazing.
campaign. I'm doing all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I can't even tell you really because everything keeps evolving. We're booking shows like crazy now, so everything is coming back. Everything is according to my hustle. The harder I hustle, more things happen. So I can't even tell you because they come out of the blue, and then I have to nurture them and curate them and fit them into my schedule and see if they're even possible to even, just be able to grow to fruition. So I'm working. And that's the challenge. That's the part I love. I love putting in the work, right? I love that part because I know that it pays off. I know from a lifetime of doing what I've been doing, it pays off because I'm successful. So all I got to do, I've got the formula. All I got to do is do it. And that's not even that's not a difficult thing to do. And I leave everybody with that. You can do anything you want to do. You have a choice. And control your emotions. You know what I'm saying? Take your emotions, put it in your pocket, and use it for later, right? Don't react. Don't let your emotions get you down. I've learned that ability. I've learned to take any negative emotion, negativity, envy, hatefulness, you know what I'm saying? Sadness, despair, right? Put it in my pocket and use it as fuel. What they say, let your haters be your motivators.
Yeah.
They say it, but it don't mean nothing. But it
Don't mean
does
anything.
because that's your fuel. Somebody say you can't do it. That's your fuel. Oh, I can't do it. Okay.
You're gonna prove them that you can do it.
And it's not even you trying to prove it to them. You just using
Prove
that
to
as
yourself.
fuel.
It's not proving to them. It's proving to yourself that you can.
You gotta prove it to nobody because you already know what I can do it. But it's the fuel. That's what's gonna get you across the finish line when you remember that, right? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I remember when they said that. And then what happens is they're still gonna be around. They're still your friends. They're still your loved ones. But you get to look them in the eye, and they get to look you in the eye. And nobody needs to say anything. And that is one of the best feelings in the world.
I know you're very busy, so how would you describe DC, the Brain Supreme, in one word?
Giving. That's it.
You never know what blessings lies around the corner. What God has for you is for you, no matter how long it takes to manifest. Mm-hmm. Well, DC, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Hype Club podcast. Please remind us where we can find you on all social media platforms.
Don't matter because I do SEO. So you type in DC Glenn, you type in tag team, you type in Whoomp, there it is, Scoop, there it is.
They'll find you.
You'll find me.
They'll find you.
Isn't that an easier way than running off all them social networks? And all your social networks are supposed to be the same name. Like I'm
the same name.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? So DC Glenn ATL's me, Tag Team Whoomp is all the other socials. So we good.
Once again, DC, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This ends today's show, and thank you all for joining us on another episode of the Hype Club podcast. Tune in next week for the latest world and entertainment news. Until then, have a great day. Ciao.